What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. A couple of days ago, I posted a video talking about whether or not PvP was dead in Pokemon Go. And I have to say that a lot of the comment section was basically saying, you know what? I really only do PvP for a chance of getting the Sinnoh Stone. People absolutely want that Sinnoh Stone, so I became very curious. Is there something that we can do to increase our odds of getting a Sinnoh Stone? And I was apparently not the only person who was curious about this. Someone on Reddit actually performed an experiment of a pretty large sample size as well, and the results are actually very interesting, and there are a couple of ways that we can increase the chances of getting ourselves a Sinnoh Stone. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the first thing that we need to cover is the ways that you can obtain a Sinnoh Stone. It initially was launched throughout the Research Breakthrough task, and the first two that occurred were a 100% occurrence to get people super excited, and then ripped away in the third week and became completely random. Since that time, I was fortunate enough to get a couple of them throughout that, but not as common obviously as the first 2 weeks. But other than that, we have PvP coming to save the day, because now we have 4 different opportunities introduced to us to get ourselves a Sinnoh Stone. The first one is versing a team leader, so it's just one of those trainer battles. You can do 1 per day and get yourself a chance at a Sinnoh Stone. And then the remaining 3 opportunities is versus either just random battles or versus one of your ultra or best friends. So in total, you can do 4 battles a day that give an opportunity to get yourself a Sinnoh Stone. And then once per week, you can add on an extra option when you include that Research Breakthrough task. So other than that, there have been proven to be a couple of bundles into how you can receive different rewards. And here are some of those results. Receiving 500 Stardust, that is the most common one that we saw amongst the Master Battles. And then up next is the Sinnoh Stone ×1. And then there is the 500 Stardust ×2. I have received that once or twice. And then you have the Sinnoh Stone ×1 plus 500 Stardust. I have also received that once. And then finally, a Sinnoh Stone ×2. I bet you are feeling super lucky if that happens. I also wanted to report to you that some people have claimed that they have actually gotten 3 Sinnoh Stones from a battle. I personally not seen any screenshot of that, so if you do have one, make sure to send that to me on Twitter at FLW Videos. So now that we know the ways that you can obtain a Sinnoh Stone as well as the bundles that they can appear in, we really need to buckle down and talk about different topics as to what we can do to increase our odds. And at least as far as these findings are concerned, there's really 2 things that appear to have an increased drop rate, which I do want to share with you. Now, I understand that this is a sample size. I get how statistics work, but I do think that this group is substantial enough, it is large enough to actually prove that there is a little bit of an increased rate. And the first one is doing your battles versus the trainer, the team leader, or doing the random battles. It appears that doing your random battles or versus your friends actually has a little bit of a higher drop rate than versus the team leaders. Now, to me, this does make sense because it promotes the community battling amongst each other, and it increases the kind of like use of the feature. So I can absolutely see how that would make sense. This next one, however, is a little bit baffling. We'll start it off by saying this. One of the criticisms for PvP is that the results, as far as whether you win or lose, is pretty much the same. You get kind of like the same items, and people are like, well, how can this be competitive if you end up getting the exact same type of item drop? Well, I do think it has something to do with account boosting. So basically, if you had a main account and then like a sub account or a secondary account, you'd probably end up wanting your main account to win them all, because regardless of just the rewards, you also can build up your badges along the way. So maybe some type of anti-cheat method along with that is to just make them kind of like level, right? Well, the results ended up showing that losers actually get a higher drop rate amongst Sinnoh Stones. And I'm thinking like, what? Are you kidding me? So it's not only that winners don't have a higher chance of it happening, but losers apparently end up having a slightly higher drop rate for the Sinnoh Stones. And then I started thinking back on my past experiences. I've actually received more Sinnoh Stones from losses than I have from wins, and I'm curious to know whether or not it has something to do with maybe battling the same people per day, maybe just winning a little bit more, or the other person not fighting back as much? Are there any type of like anti-cheat methods put into the code that are theoretically preventing you from getting some Sinnoh stones dropped? I don't really know, but I do think it is very interesting and wanted to pass that off to you. So yeah, in summary, it appears that battling your random battles per day is actually receiving more Sinnoh stones than just doing your trainer battle. But if you do want to increase your overall odds, definitely make sure that you get in all of the battles that you can possibly do per day, as well as getting your streak anytime and every time you can. And then apparently you just have to lose a little bit or lose a little more, and you should apparently see a little bit more Sinnoh stones. But I actually want to pass this off to you and see what your results have been so far. Have you received more from losing? What is going on with it? Have you even received a Sinnoh stone? I have seen that some people haven't even gotten one yet, which is very sad. At the same time, there's also those people out there who have gotten an insane amount. That's just unfortunately how RNG works, but I definitely want to know what you have to say in the comment section below. But anyways, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Hit me like a tidal wave, triggered by the aftershock. Hit me like a tidal wave, triggered by the aftershock. Oh.